You wake up, open your eyes, another day begins. But what if you never actually woke up at all? What if right now, in this very moment, you're still dreaming? Not in the metaphorical sense, not poetically, but literally. What if life itself is a dream, and some people have simply become lucid within it? We're born one day, we die another, and in between, we struggle, we strive, we suffer, we celebrate. But is that all there is? Is this really it? And more importantly, why? Why is there something called life? Why are we here? Why should we go through all of this? Today, we're going to explore one of humanity's oldest and most radical ideas, that life is a dream. Awakened beings are those who've woken up inside it, and the rest of us. We're still sleeping, convinced the dream is real. Think about your last dream. While you were in it, it felt completely real, didn't it? You didn't question why you could fly, or why your childhood home had 17 extra rooms, or why your coworker was suddenly your high school teacher. You accepted it all. It was your reality. But here's the interesting part. You only realized it was a dream when you woke up. For thousands of years, spiritual traditions have suggested something extraordinary, that our waking life operates on the same principle. Hinduism calls it Maya, the cosmic illusion. The Upanishads state, all this is indeed Brahman. This self is Brahman. Everything you see is a projection of consciousness itself. The Buddha taught that conventional reality is like a dream, and awakening, enlightenment, is literally waking up from it. He said, all phenomena are like a dream, an illusion, a bubble, a shadow. The Taoist sage Zhuangzi famously dreamed he was a butterfly. When he woke, he asked, am I a man who dreamed of being a butterfly, or am I a butterfly now dreaming I'm a man? Even Western philosophy grappled with this. Plato's allegory of the cave suggested we live in shadows of reality, not reality itself. But here's where it gets really interesting. Modern neuroscience is starting to agree. Researcher Anil Seth calls reality a controlled hallucination. Your brain doesn't experience reality directly. It constructs a model of reality based on sensory input and predictions. Every single moment you experience happened 80 milliseconds ago. Your brain processes, interprets, and presents you with a reality that's already passed. You're living in a simulation created by your own consciousness, slightly delayed, carefully edited, and completely convincing. What's the difference between that and a dream? So if life is a dream, who are the dreamers? And more importantly, who are the ones who've woken up? Throughout history, certain individuals have claimed to experience a radical shift in consciousness. They describe it as waking up, not from physical sleep, but from identification with the dream. Ramana Maharshi, Nisargadatta Maharaj, countless Zen masters, and modern teachers like Eckhart Tolle. Most people are fully immersed in the dream. They believe their thoughts are who they are. They identify completely with their body, their story, their problems, their achievements. The dream feels 100% real because they're not aware they're dreaming. Think about it. When you dream at night, you don't think, I'm Sarah John who's currently asleep in bed having a dream. No, you are the dream character. You're completely identified with it. But then there's lucid dreaming. You're still in the dream, but suddenly you realize, wait, I'm dreaming. Everything looks the same, but your relationship to it transforms completely. You're still participating, but you're no longer fooled. You're playing along. This is what spiritual traditions describe as awakening. The awakened ones, they're lucid in the dream of life. They still participate. They still eat, work, interact. But they know. They've remembered what they are beyond the dream character. Here's something fascinating from physics. The double-slit experiment shows that observation affects reality at the quantum level. Consciousness isn't just passive. It's participatory in creating what we call reality. What if consciousness is primary and physical reality is secondary? What if, as physicist Max Planck said, consciousness is fundamental and matter is derived from consciousness? The sleeping person looks at life. The awakened person looks from life. Or more accurately, as the awareness that's dreaming life into being. But here's the question everyone asks. If life is just a dream, why? Why are we here? Why go through all this suffering, all this struggle, if none of it is ultimately real? Let me ask you something. Have you ever been on vacation? Think about how excited you get planning a trip. You save money, you book flights, you research hotels. You choose to temporarily leave your comfortable home to go somewhere challenging. Maybe there's language barriers, unfamiliar food, uncomfortable beds, long flights, jet lag. And you pay thousands of dollars for this experience. Why? Because experiences are valuable. Because growth happens outside comfort. Because the version of you that returns home is different from the version that left. You're expanded. You've learned. You've felt things you couldn't feel in your everyday life. Now imagine you're an eternal being. Pure consciousness, infinite and unchanging. You exist in a state of perfect peace, perfect unity, perfect bliss. Sounds wonderful, right? But here's the thing about perfection. Nothing changes. Nothing grows. Nothing is experienced as relative or distinct. There's no you and other. There's no time, no surprise, no journey. So consciousness does something radical. It dreams up limitation. It creates the illusion of separation. It becomes many instead of one. It enters time instead of eternity. It forgets what it is. Why would it do this? For the experience, for the richness of relationship, for the possibility of fear transforming into courage, loneliness into love, ignorance into wisdom, for the profound beauty of a sunset that eventually fades, for the taste of food when you have a body, for the touch of someone you love, for music that vibrates through physical ears. You can't experience triumph without challenge. You can't experience reunion without separation. You can't experience forgiveness without first believing in wrongdoing. You can't experience awakening without first believing you're asleep. And just like a vacation, you always plan to go home. Death isn't an ending. It's checking out of the hotel. It's the return flight. And when you're home again, you'll look back on this life vacation with all its struggles and joys, and you'll say, wow, what an experience that was. The awakened ones? They're the travelers who remembered they're not just the tourist. They're also the consciousness that chose to become the tourist, and that remembering transforms everything. The problems don't necessarily disappear. The body still ages, challenges still arise, but the suffering, the deep existential suffering, that dissolves. Because when you know it's a dream, when you remember you're on vacation, everything becomes lighter, more playful, more precious because it's temporary. So how do we wake up? How do we become lucid in this dream? Every spiritual tradition offers practices, but they all point to the same thing: presence, awareness, questioning the nature of the self. Ramana Maharshi taught self-inquiry. Who am I? Not the psychological answer, your name, story, role, but the direct investigation into what's aware of all of that. Zen Buddhism emphasizes just this moment, fully experienced, not lost in thoughts about past or future, but here. Because the dream only exists in thinking. Pure awareness is already awake. Many traditions use plant medicines, breathwork, or meditation to induce temporary glimpses of the larger reality. These peek behind the curtain experiences show you there's more than the everyday dream state. And science is catching up. Studies on long-term meditators show actual changes in brain structure, thickening in areas associated with awareness and compassion, thinning in areas associated with fear and self-referential thinking. The goal isn't to escape life. It's not about denying the dream or becoming passive. It's about playing fully while knowing it's play. Loving deeply while knowing love is your nature, not something you can lose. Engaging completely while remaining free. Is life a big, beautiful dream? Maybe the better question is, does it matter? Whether this is a dream or ultimate reality, you're here, you're experiencing, and the quality of that experience can transform when you hold it differently. Perhaps the point isn't to escape the dream, but to become so conscious within it that you remember. You're not just the character in the dream. You're also the dreamer. You're not just on vacation. You're also home. You never left. You're the eternal consciousness that chose to forget itself, just so it could experience the joy of remembering. And right now, in this very moment, you're beginning to wake up. The question isn't whether life is a dream. The question is, are you ready to become lucid?